Hello everyone, how's it going? Many people on Ozempic or other medications that contain semaglutide, they experience digestive issues. Well, what foods are best for someone taking this medication? If that sounds interesting to you, keep watching. Of course, everyone is different, but oftentimes people on Ozempic or similar medications, they experience uncomfortable side effects. This is very likely because semaglutide can slow digestion for up to 4 hours. Now, eating certain foods can increase the likelihood of having to experience side effects. So what are some of the worst foods to choose, and what are some of the best foods to choose? And are there any helpful tips that can help kind of reduce those side effects? Well, we're going to talk about that, and later on in the video I'm going to share with you my husband's experience. He's actually been on Ozempic for some time now. So what are some of the worst foods and why? Well, it's recommended to limit or avoid fried, greasy foods, sugary and highly processed foods. And there's no surprise there. Those foods are really not good for anyone. But for someone who's on Ozempic, these foods, they can really create havoc in the digestive system. Fried, greasy foods, they already take longer to digest when someone's not on a medication that is making their slowing their digestion down. So the combination can really cause someone to have nausea and or bloating. Now, research shows that red meat should be at the top of the list because of the high fat content. It could really slow down the digestion and cause these uncomfortable side effects. Even high-fat dairy can result in nausea and reflux. Another one that was on the list was highly processed carbs like white bread, crackers, pastries, and chips. Those can cause rapid glucose spikes. That can make blood sugar management difficult, which is something that's very important for diabetics to be able to get that under control. Sugary drinks and desserts, those also can cause a spike in blood sugar, and the high calories can work against weight management. Another one that can cause issues is carbonated beverages. They may increase bloating and discomfort. Spicy foods is another one to be on guard against. They could trigger heartburn or indigestion. Some people can no longer tolerate spicy foods like they could before they were on semaglutide. Alcohol, that's another one, especially is concerning for diabetics because it can intensify the side effects. So that could put somebody at an increased risk of dehydration and low blood sugar. Also, people who've lost weight have noticed that they feel the effects of alcohol even more. So they have to kind of adjust how much they're drinking. So what are some good foods to focus on, and what tips may help reduce some of these side effects? We're going to talk about that next, but first, just some reminders. I'd like to remind you to please like and subscribe if you're enjoying today's information. Also, always check out the description box below. There'll be some product suggestions possibly. There'll be some links there so you can see where I've gathered the information for the video. And then feel free to leave a comment below if you have something you'd like to share on this topic. All right, so what are some of those best foods that we can choose? Well, a good choice would be Greek yogurt. It's easy to digest, high in protein and probiotics. Of course, if you're going to buy the sweetened flavored type and you're diabetic, you might want to go for the no sugar or the low sugar ones. Eggs is another good choice. It's easy to digest. It's a good source of protein, and you can really prepare it in so many different ways. Lean chicken or fish can give you a high quality protein without all that excess fat. That's really important when you're trying to lose weight. That keeps the body from burning muscle instead of fat. Oatmeal is another good choice. It's fiber rich, which can be very helpful for those who suffer from constipation. It's very gentle on the stomach. Another good choice would be avocados. They provide healthy fat and fiber. However, you might want to eat those in moderation so you don't wind up experiencing some of those side effects if you overdo that. Berries are always a good choice because they have antioxidants and fiber, and they don't cause those sugar spikes that possibly other fruits may do for you. Another good option would be to possibly eat cooked vegetables. They are easier to digest than raw vegetables. Of course, there are certain vegetables that are known to cause gas and bloating that you may need to avoid, such as broccoli, beans, cabbage. Just have to see how that reacts with your body. Nuts and seeds are a good option. They have plenty of protein, fiber, and healthy fat, but even those, actually, you have to try to eat those in small portions. Now, meal replacement shakes or protein shakes might be a good option if you're really struggling with your appetite and digestion, and that's because they're easier to digest than solid food. All right, how about some of these tips? Some that I found were to eat small, frequent meals to make sure you stay hydrated. When you're preparing your food, use only gentle seasoning. Try to keep a balanced meal that contains lean protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Another thing is to keep active, even if you just get up and move around the room every so often. That can really help with your digestion. You can also try focusing on lighter cooking methods like grilling, steaming, and roasting. If you're really having trouble, your body's really having trouble adjusting to the medication, you could even ask your doctor if you could take your dosage every 10 to 12 days instead of every week. All right, so my husband, he's been on Ozempic for quite some time now, a few years. And he was put on it to help with his blood sugar. He has type 2 diabetes. And he successfully lost quite a bit of weight and it has helped him with his blood sugar. But it has really been a challenge to try to figure out what he could eat. Things that he liked before Ozempic, he hardly could tolerate after he was on that, such as orange juice, eggs, burgers, pizza, kind of hit or miss. Of course, some of those are not good food choices anyway, so better to avoid them. But some of the things that he wanted now were really not good for diabetics. He was interested more now in eating cereal, chips, cookies, donuts, things like that. Now, recently, his doctor actually started him on a higher dosage of Ozempic, so it's become more of a challenge to find something that he could tolerate. But I know that will settle out a bit after his body gets used to that higher dosage. Now, he's never cared for whole grains like brown rice, wheat bread, or quinoa, things like that. But one thing he has consistently enjoyed before Ozempic and even currently is fruit. And there are some good fruit options. I do try to keep fresh fruit cups around. Sometimes he enjoys boiled or deviled eggs or yogurt. He also always likes salmon, so those are some good protein choices. Keeping smaller portions definitely helps try to minimize those side effects. If he tries to eat too much at once, it just makes him feel horrible. But how about you? Do you have any suggestions about what you can feed someone who's on Ozempic or something that's worked for you while you've been on Ozempic? If you do, I'd really appreciate it if you'd share that in the comments below. Well, I hope some of these suggestions in the video will help you or your loved one who may be navigating what to eat while you're on Ozempic. And I hope to see you in the next video where we'll discuss another way we can improve our health.